everybody. Today I would like to share three things I learned from a YouTube video. It's called 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, who is a famous professor in University of Toronto. And the whole video is actually in 1.5 hours. But what I want to share is not those 12 rules, but the first 3 minutes I learned 3 things. And those 3 things are sorry to sound bossy, and the second one is called particular by me, and the third one is called stand up ovation. So let me explain. So obviously when there is a big event starts, we always have a so-called event master to open up this whole event. And obviously there was one day before, so this master basically noticed there are some issues, people trying to take pictures, there's so many people lined up in the queue, and the queue was too slow, too long. And also there are people trying to talk to Peterson, Professor Peterson, and obviously be polite. You cannot really, it's sometimes difficult to say no. I think in some events we all been there, done that. So the beauty of this event master, what I learned is, instead of just tell people, say, okay, do not take a selfie. And that sounds pretty harsh. What he did is he said, sorry to sound bossy, but we decided not to take selfie. So that so-called sorry to sound bossy. This, I feel this is a very, very beautiful smoothing word to make this transition to tell people not to do something sounds very much easier to accept. So I think that's a beautiful piece of a communication tip or skill I learned from this opening remarks. And the second part, he basically says something in this line, looks like what happened in previous event was there were some people trying to talk to professor about his personal life, and without realizing the whole line was being held up because there's probably hundreds of people waiting behind trying to shake hands, say hi to celebrity basically. So this event master basically said something like this. He says, okay, all of us, particularly me, are keen to solve problems of our lives. And then carry on, he said, but now please resist this temptation to asking questions while there are people waiting behind. So this so-called all of us, particularly me, are keen to solve the problems. So I feel this particularly me really shows the humble and the skill of this master, even the master, put his thought into this whole conversation, and it's make the whole requirement and delivery much more better. So I really feel the skill and the communication thought put in by this master, event master, was just outstanding. So it's a very beautiful start. And the third thing I noticed is when Jordan Peterson finally walked up the stage, obviously there are quite a few big fans on the front rows. They just stand up, start to clapping, give this stand up ovation, and obviously very naturally many people follow the suit and all stand up. And I noticed that there are still few people just sit down there, feel very comfortably to not stand up. And that I feel very, very beautiful for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, to come to event like this, I think most people trying to learn or to basically lesson what this very famous celebrity and professor to share his view of the life and the world. And I think he had very, very powerful messages. Personally, I'm really like what he says. However, you cannot really make everybody agree with you, although it sounds very powerful to you, but not necessarily agreeable by everybody. So there are still, no matter what kind of message you're trying to pass through, sounds like there are still people feels the proper gesture at that moment is to sit down instead of to stand up, give stand up ovation. And that's perfectly fine. And secondly, I think from the speaker perspective, he saw those stand-up ovations, and I think he may or he may not see that there are people are actually not necessary to stand up. Doesn't mean they are against him, but they are coming and still want to see, to listen. So the message really, what I learned in this whole thing is, in this whole situation, in this kind of so-called stand-up, and there are still few people just sit down there, which I think in many cases I thought that, which is fairly common, tells me something that no matter what you say, there are always people disagree with you. And the reason you stand up to say something is not necessarily for certain people or to make everybody happy. You cannot. What you're trying to say, I think, is something that you feel strongly and powerfully to share with the people. And it's up to them to decide what is the most beneficial things to take by them. So I think that is important. So to say it is not to please everybody. It is to share what you feel is powerful, what you feel is valuable to the people. And it's up to the people to decide if they like to take it or they can leave it. So 3 things I learned before even I start this video. Number 1, sorry to sound bossy before you demand something to let people not to do something. And that makes the conversation really smooth. And secondly, all of us, particularly me, I think it put myself into a very humble position when you're trying to ask people not to do another things. And you tell them, yes, I am also guilty for the similar situation. And that 2 sentences, I feel, is very, very powerful, are very powerful. And the very last is for the speaker. When you're trying to speak, you, instead of trying to make everybody happy, what you really are doing is to share something you feel from your heart. And for the audience, it is up to them to decide to stand up or keep sit. It is totally fine. Thank you very much for spending time. And again, I highly recommend that particular video is called 12 Rules for Life. No matter what you can gain from these 12 rules, I think the whole piece is very beautiful. I will put the link below and feel free to comment. Thank you very much.